All right, let's jump right in. For ages, enterprise resource planning, or ERP, has been kind of like the digital backbone of a business, right? It's the system that keeps track of, well, everything, from finance to the factory floor. But here's the thought. What if that backbone could suddenly grow a brain? I know, sounds a bit sci-fi, but that's exactly what's happening right now. Machine learning is hooking up with ERP, and it's turning these huge data warehouses into these incredible, predictive, super smart engines.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break down how this whole transformation is playing out. First up, we'll uncover this hidden asset that's probably sitting inside your business right now. Then we'll talk about the key, machine learning, that unlocks it all. After that, we'll take a little tour to see how this stuff actually works in the real world, for operations and for those big picture decisions. And yeah, we'll keep it real. We'll talk about the risks too. Finally, we'll peek into the future of what a smart business really looks like.
Okay, so first things first, let's talk about this massive, untapped potential that honestly most companies are just sitting on, and a lot of them don't even know it.
Seriously, just think about this for a second. What if your biggest, most valuable asset, the one thing that could drive growth and make everything more efficient, what if it isn't something you have to go out and buy? What if it's something you've been collecting for years without even thinking about it?
Well, it is. It's already there. We're talking about that gigantic mountain of data that's just sitting inside your ERP system. And look, it's hard to even wrap your head around the scale of this stuff. Your ERP, it's literally the entire history of your business. Every single sale, every widget you've ever made, every shipment, every invoice, it's all in there. It's like this perfect photographic memory of your company. But here's the catch, right? It's just too much. There's no way a team of people, even with the best spreadsheets in the world, could ever make sense of it all. It really is a data goldmine, but for the longest time, we just didn't have the right shovel to dig it all up. Well, until now. And that, right there, brings us to the key, the thing that finally unlocks all that hidden value. And that key is machine learning. This is the tool that lets us finally turn all that messy, raw data into actual, intelligent decisions. So, what are we really talking about when we say machine learning for an ERP? Let's forget all the super technical jargon for a minute. Just picture it like this. It's like a super smart engine that you plug right into your ERP system. And this engine, it's designed to do one thing and do it incredibly well. It digs through millions and millions of old records to find patterns, patterns a human would never spot. And then it uses those patterns to predict what's going to happen next.
And listen, this isn't some kind of black magic. It's actually a really clear process. First, you pull out all the clean, useful data from your sales, inventory, finance, all those places. Then you use that data to train the machine learning model. You're basically teaching it, hey, this is what our business looks like. After that, you test it out. You validate it against old data to make sure its predictions are actually good. Once you're confident, boom, you deploy it right into your live ERP system, and it starts giving you insights in real time. And this is the really cool part, it's always being monitored and updated, so it just keeps getting smarter and smarter over time.
All right, so the process makes sense in theory, but what does this stuff actually do, like for real? Let's take a look at how this tech is making operations way smarter out in the real world, from the factory floor all the way to your customer's front door. Okay, let's start with a big one, a challenge every single business faces, trying to figure out what your customers are going to want before they even know they want it. Traditional forecasting, it's usually a bit of guesswork, a bit of looking at last year's numbers, but ML-powered demand forecasting, that's a whole different ballgame. It doesn't just look at past sales, it looks at everything, the seasons, what's trending, even how your last marketing campaign did, and it weaves all that together to paint a way, way more accurate picture of the future. And the payoff here is huge, and it happens fast. Think about it. You stop having those awful conversations where you have to tell a customer, sorry, we're out of stock. At the same time, you stop wasting a ton of money and space on products that are just collecting dust. The system just adapts. It makes sure you have exactly what you need when you need it. The right stuff at the right time. Simple as that. Now let's switch gears and head over to the factory floor. For as long as we've had machines, maintenance has been reactive, right? Something breaks, everything stops, you scramble to fix it, and it costs a fortune in downtime. Well, predictive maintenance completely flips that on its head. It analyzes data from sensors on all your gear, and the ML model can spot these tiny, tiny changes in performance, the little whispers that warn you a big failure might be just around the corner. The impact of this is just wow. I mean, just imagine this.
Your main assembly line hasn't had a single surprise shutdown in half a year. Why? Because the system flagged a key bearing that needed to be replaced a full week before it could have catastrophically failed. That's the power we're talking about. You get to schedule repairs when you want to, not when the machine decides to break down. It keeps everything running like clockwork. But hey, this isn't just about factory floors and warehouses. The impact of ML is just as big when it comes to making smarter decisions in the, let's call it the administrative heart of the business, in the finance and HR departments. Let's take finance. Accuracy and security are the name of the game. So you have these machine learning models that can scan thousands of transactions every single second. They learn what normal looks like for your company's finances. So when something weird pops up, like, say, a huge payment to a brand new vendor you've never used before, it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. It gets flagged immediately for a human to take a look. I mean, the difference here is night and day. A person doing manual checks, they're slow, they can miss things, they get tired. But an ML-assisted check, it's lightning fast, way more accurate, and it's basically a tireless digital watchdog that never gets distracted.
And then there's your most important asset of all, your people. By looking at anonymized HR data from the ERP, these models can actually spot the subtle signs that an employee might be at risk of leaving. This gives managers a chance to step in and have a conversation, proactively. On the flip side, it can also highlight the rising stars, the people who show the patterns of future leaders, so you know exactly who to invest in for the long haul.
Okay, so it's really easy to get excited about all this potential, and you should be. But let's pump the brakes for a second. This technology isn't a magic wand. You have to go into it with your eyes wide open. So let's talk about some of the risks and the reality checks.
First off, this is not a plug-and-play deal. The old saying, garbage in, garbage out, is truer here than anywhere else. Your predictions are only as good as your data, so keeping that data clean is absolutely non-negotiable. There's also the danger of relying too much on the tech. You've got to keep humans in the loop. This is about helping them make better decisions, not replacing them. And of course, people can be resistant to change, right? So good training and clear communication are key. Finally, you can't just set it and forget it. You have to keep an eye on these models to make sure they're still on track.
And really, this is the most important takeaway. Machine learning is amazing at finding insights at a scale that we humans just can't. But it doesn't replace us. At the end of the day, it's a tool. A powerful one for sure, but a tool designed to enhance the experience, the intuition, and the good judgment of your team. So now that we've got a balanced view of things, let's look ahead. What's next? Where is all this technology heading? And what does the future of a truly smart business even look like? Well, the future is all about deeper integration. We're going to see more systems that just handle routine stuff on their own, like automatically reordering supplies when they get low. And those predictive insights, they won't be buried in some report you have to run. They'll be right there, on the dashboards you use every single day, fed by real-time data from all sorts of sensors. And get this, with things like generative AI, a manager will be able to literally ask their ERP, hey, what would happen to our supply chain if a major port shuts down for a week? And get a simulation. That's a whole new universe of strategic planning.
So look, this stuff isn't science fiction anymore. It's here, and it's a practical tool that is fundamentally changing how businesses run. From predicting what customers want, to keeping machines running, to managing finance and people, machine learning is taking the good old ERP, that simple system of record, and turning it into a proactive, intelligent engine for growth. Which really just leaves one final question for you to think about. What part of your business is just waiting for its smart upgrade?